Hello, everyone. This is Phoenix Tremaine, and today we're going to be talking about General Hospital because Ryan Pavey is coming back to the show. But before we get started, please take a minute to subscribe, hit that like button, go on ahead and comment and share. These are free to do. It helps out the channel a lot. And you get videos like this in advance when you're a member. So go on ahead and try the member section where we have lives on Fridays where we talk about all of the spoilers and have great commentary about everything going on in the show and sometimes even what's going on in life. So go ahead and try the membership. We would love to have you. Now, Ryan Pavey is returning to General Hospital. You may remember him. He played Nathan, who was Maxie's love interest on the show. And I would dare say, even greater than Spinelli, he is considered to be her actual one true love. And I think they did a great job. They had great chemistry. And when Nathan left the show, it gutted a lot of the fans. And so hearing that he's returning has got a lot of people excited. But he's also returning at a time where Kirsten Storms is leaving the show. And she said she may not be back until November or maybe even December. So his character is not coming back to be with Maxie. So let's talk about Ryan Pavey and what he said in an interview. He says, after receiving the initial text, Ryan Pavey explained, he and Frank Valentini talked a bit and he asked would I consider returning for a while. Talking story, floated different story ideas involving different time commitments of me. And I thought if we were going to do this, we should really do it and surprise the fans with a meaty storyline. So Ryan wants to come back and he didn't want to come back for just like a little bit. He wanted to come back. So I wouldn't be surprised if he comes back on contract or eventually gets put back on contract. He's a character that fans truly loved, and he got an amazing send off. I've seen people complain on the subs, especially the wrestlers. They bumped off three people and didn't show any of the funerals. And when the character Nathan died, he had a send off, a great send off, and a hero send off, and he had an open casket. So they were letting you know, oh, he gone, he's gone. And we have even Georgie, who's Maxie's sister, who passed away. Taking him to the afterlife. So I honestly don't believe that he's coming back to be Nathan again. Now, there were some fans that said that Ryan was coming back, and that's the reason why Britt is working for him because he won't say his name yet, but whoever the secret guy is, that he is in charge. But we've seen her with these needles, giving herself some medicine that's probably to counteract, what she's going through health wise. And I think that's the reason her motivation for doing it. And I was actually going to do a video on who the mystery man is. I had it all set up with the different suspects. Could it be Faison? Could it be Peter? Could it be Jasper Jacks? Could it be Victor Cassadine? Even Julian Jerome. I was saying, the head writers described him as a diabolical genius that's off his rocker. So that made a lot of people think, well, maybe Faison is coming back and Britt's working for her father. They head writers also made another comment that Britt and uh, uh, Obret that their family would be expanding. And so that really made me think, oh, Peter's coming back. And so a lot of people were suddenly thinking, oh, Shakespeare's returning to General Hospital. If you know, you know. So, but now that we know that Ryan is actually one that's returning and he has such a definitive demise, and they're talking about such a meaty story and that Maxie's not going to be anywhere around. And we just saw in today's episode, Maxie passed out after putting the cream on her face. And so, that's probably part of Maxie's exit storyline. Because we know how obsessed Peter was with Maxie. And so it's also good taking her off the table if Peter's returning. But I think the plot twist is going to be that Britt's working for her brother, but it is not Nathan. I wouldn't I wouldn't define him as somebody as diabolical. Nathan was like one of the nicest guys. He was such a great hero. But who's crazy? Just like his father, Peter is nutty as a fruitcake, with his obsessions and being a villain. And he's cheated, passing away his demise before. They made it look like he was gone before, but it turned out he was still alive. And we never got a definitive scene of Peter gone. They left him in the snow for the WSB to handle. And I wouldn't put it past the WSB to save him because of all of the knowledge that he had. And one of the reasons why people thought that it could potentially be Phazon is because Phazon would weaponize, different things. And whatever Brit's working on, it's, her working on it like a bio weapon. So I really do think that Peter has returned, but it's not going to be uh, Wes Ramsey returning as Peter. I think that um, Ryan Pavey is going to return to the show, but as many actors have done before, he'll be a completely different character. So I want to ask, does this make sense to you? My line of thinking of, we got this mysterious guy that, is controlling Brit, the clues that the head writers gave us that the family for Obret and Brit is expanding. Um, so it was always to me, even in that video where I was going to talk about who it could be, it always came down to Faison and Peter. And because Faison has such a definitive demise too, I felt like sometimes when someone leaves the show you sort of feel like, okay, this is the swan song. We got it with Tristan Rogers when he left with Emma Sam's, with the Casablanca ending. It really felt like an ending, even though he came back briefly with Sasha and Daisy. I really feel like the show understood that at his age that he was pretty much going to retire, that he was, had cancer and all of that. So I felt sometimes you just feel like there's a definitive ending. And with Phazon, that was another what I felt like was a definitive ending. And even with Nathan, I felt like that was a definitive ending. But just like, many characters have done in the past, I feel like he's coming back as a new character, not a new character, but is coming back as Peter. And I think as an actor, that would excite him because at first he was like the super good guy. Actors like to change things up, and him playing a bad guy would sort of make sense to me. But let me know in the comment section what you think and what you want. Do you want them to somehow bring back Nathan from the grave and try to figure out how that will work? Or would you like him to be a totally new character? Or do you think that I'm right that he's actually going to come back as Peter? And would you like to see him as Peter? Or would you want Wes Ramsey slash Shakespeare back as Peter? So let me know all of the things in the comment section, and I will see you in the next video.